This is a Wirtgen SP15 Slipform Paver. It's made by NZG and it's in 1/50th scale. Now NZG has done an excellent job with all these Wirtgen models in the last couple of years. Whether it's the concrete machine or the curb machines or the reclaimers or the milling machines, they're all just really well done. The detail is excellent, and what's really great is the functionality. They've done such a good job of capturing all the ins and outs and adjustments that you can make with these machines to do the work you have to do. And it's just, it's really impressive to see that on a smaller scale. Now, the Slipform Paver, or curb machine as I know it, you could get this in two different versions. One's with the conveyor belt like I have here, or there's also one with an auger type system. And it really doesn't matter. They're both the same, more or less, sitting on the shelf. You're not really going to see it a whole lot. Or rather, you're not going to notice the difference unless you're looking for it. Now, as far as the model goes, it's surprisingly heavy for as big as it is, which is, I think it's one of those first basic signs of quality. If you got a heavy model, it's probably pretty well built. Just looking at it, you can see right off the bat that you got a lot of different things going on here. A lot of different points of articulation here that you can adjust in and out. The whole thing will run up and down on these cylinders here, so you can adjust for height, which is pretty cool. One thing you might notice is these goofy yellow rubber tracks. There's a reason for this. On the real machines, the yellow is it's like a neoprene track shoe that they have, so that when they run over like a paved or a concrete surface, the curb machine won't leave any marks. That's why they're yellow. Some people look at this and say, oh, you know, what's with the yellow tracks? That looks ridiculous. Well, that's how the machine is built. There's a reason for that. So I mean, it's pretty interesting. It's a minor detail, but it's still pretty neat. Yeah, even your back post here, it slides in and out. So again, you can adjust it any which way you need to do the work you gotta do. The control stations, you got a cover here, and that just, I swear, it pops right up. Well, it don't want to work. Anyway, you can switch it to either side. So if you're working on this side, yeah, the whole thing, you can take the chute off here and the conveyor swivel, and you can your form box here, again, just pops, it pops right off. That slides over the other side, and you can put this back in on the other side. Now the only problem with that, if you'll notice the curb box here, your curb is going to be backwards. So it's cool that you can run it on that side, but your curb is going to be backwards. But it's still a pretty neat feature that they didn't have to add. Now if you look at it, like you can see, right, the concrete comes into the hopper there, and then however it works, I have no idea, your finished curb comes out the other end, and that's pretty neat. Now the curb machines that I've seen, basically what will happen is you'll run, like you'd have a string line running right here, and that string line basically is going to be your curb. It's the exact elevation, your grade, everything. And the machine will basically have two needles here in the front, and what it will literally do is it'll put just a little bit of pressure on these needles here, and the machine will follow that string line. No matter where it goes, up, down, in, out, whichever way, it'll automatically basically run itself. And the cylinders here, same thing. Like they'll adjust wherever that string line goes. The machine will go up or down and adjust itself to it. So that's why when you go to these jobs where they're getting ready to do curb, that string line and those pins, those are sacred. Like, don't touch those things ever, because if you knock one of those pins over, you're gonna have some pretty mad dudes coming after you, and nobody wants that. Anyway, it's pretty neat how these machines actually work. Really, it's such a simple thing, but it's a fascinating system. Now, one thing this thing does have is a goofy little umbrella here. Now, if you got fat fingers like I do, it's a little bit hard to get this thing in there and to get it to stick, but you can get it. I don't really care for the umbrella. I think it looks a little bit goofy. Not much of a fan, but it does pop off. So you don't have to keep it in there if you don't want to. One thing that's cool, the stack folds over for when you load it up, so it's not over height. That's pretty neat. One of the things that's kind of neat about this is if you look underneath here, you have a, it's kind of like a rotary, like a milling machine head underneath of it that adjusts, you know, in and out. And I believe the reason for that is if your grading's not quite right or whatever for your curb, you can run that milling head down right. I mean, you can see it's exactly the right size for where your curb's going to run, and you got the little auger here to take your material out away from where your curb's going to be. So if your grading's not right, you can fix it with the machine that you're going to run curb with, and that's pretty neat. Overall, this thing is really just for being a fairly small model, it's got a lot of complex features to it. Everything folds up nice and neat for transport, which is cool. Again, it's neat that the stack folds down. That's just that's a cool little feature. I like that everything adjusts on it. Overall, it's a really nice model. NZG does such a good job with these Wirtgen models, and this would be pretty nice to have. It makes for a good load on the lowboy. It makes for a neat piece to have if you're doing like a paving display. It's just it's a cool, unique model. Anyway, that's about all I have for this. If you'd like to see more of what we have, please subscribe to Maryland Construction Diecast. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. And as always, thanks for watching.